Let me throw some ideas up. Yep.
The one strategy we came up with was basically get your two heaviest tackles out there.
Yeah.
Give him like 10 kicks, and if he drops it, these two guys can just smash it up.
Absolutely. Well, along those lines. So put some pads on, have some big units run at him. Yep.
Just recreate the game situation, but overload them.
Yeah, try to. Excellent. Yes. Good. Anything else? Like, guys, ideas.
Find the reason why he breaking down, like why he not doing it, and
Absolutely. Understand why, because that'll then give you direction. Guys, good one for you. No good coming up to the right solution to the wrong problem. So we all come up with some really smart stuff, but you want to find out what the real problem is. So yeah, absolutely. Want to figure out what's going on?
I had that situation last week, a month ago, where it was exactly the same thing. He was dropping the ball.
And what'd you do?
So I, in my wisdom, I said, took him aside and put up and gave him a catching technique, which made it even worse.
It does. It can happen.
And in the end, like, he was a bit of a blithering mess by the end of the session.
Yeah.
He couldn't catch a ball. So at the end of the session, I just said, look, go home, don't even think about it, just think about catching the ball.
Yeah, yeah.
And he hasn't dropped one since.
It's amazing how many times it happens with athletes. So my background's swimming, and quite often you got a kid that's not doing a personal best time in freestyle, and their freestyle's going backwards, and everyone's telling them how bad they are, and it keeps going, and everyone's expectations are high, and they're not doing any better, and you do more and more technique, and you're pushing them, and mum and dad says, I can't believe your freestyle's no good, and this goes on and on and on. Best thing that you can do is to say, hey, don't worry about freestyle for a couple of months, let's just concentrate on backstroke and medley and do something else. Works an absolute treat, because they do better times in the other strokes because they haven't done them for a while, and because we've de-emphasised that thing, they end up doing that better anyway. So it's a great, I think you're on the right track. Guys, other things here. Alright, so what's happening at night with the moisture content?
You might just tell us what you did end up doing with that check.
Okay, heavy wet ball, we put it in a bucket of water and put that up a few times. We got him to do 6 20-metre sprints with short rest to fatigue him and then catch the ball. We changed all the time, because what we noticed the coaches were doing is putting it up while he was looking at them. So we're doing things like he was turned on the ground over there, mid push up, and we'd go, ball! And you have to turn and you have to find it. And it'd be over there, could be anywhere. So you'd have to catch it running that way, catch it that way, catch it this way, catch it in all different positions. Guys running at him. People stand behind him going, hey, come on! So noise in his ear. So they're the sort of things we did. And you're right, to try and recreate that situation. Very, very important, guys, that don't get too hung up on this. This is old coaching mindset, is that you must do it technically perfect as per the world champion did it. The reason they were the world champion is they did it like nobody else was doing it. And the next world champion will do it like the other world champions did. That's how we get breakthroughs. Everyone does basic concepts. Best example I can give you guys is freestyle. Basic concept of freestyle, keep your hands really soft. Fingers loosely apart, not together. Elbow high, so I can apply force, so it's like that lever there. So elbow nice and high, and I pull through. Kieran Perkins, one of our greatest ever freestylers, did that on the water. Evgeny Sadovyi, who was a 200-400 Olympic gold medalist from Russia in 1992, swam like that with a forced hand thing. Olympic gold medalist. The textbook says 47 degrees hand entry, fingers together. Get their medals back off them. Can't believe they shouldn't have been allowed to win, because the technique wasn't right. Of course it was. It was right for them. It was right for them, and we spend so much time here with people telling us it must be perfect. Well, it doesn't. It has to be effective. Difference between being a teacher of technique and a winning coach. What works? Find a way to win. That's what we do. The other thing, guys, before we move on with these other two, the stable, unstable philosophy of teaching skills. At one end of the line, think of skills being on a continuum. Same thing, we spend a lot of time teaching skills in a really stable environment. So we want it quiet, we want it still, we want them to focus. We need it quiet early in the session. Glycogen repleted, fully hydrated, fully rested so they can focus on getting this skill right. And that's where we do our skills work. And we set it up there. Great stuff that we've done with the Brumbies over the years is instead of going, we're going to do a rival technique and we're going to practice some driving ins, thumb above head stuff. We're going to practice doing all that. Instead of doing it the old days 20, 30, 40, 50 times until they get it right, we do it 2 or 3 times till they've got the concept. 2 or 3 times, they've just got it. And then we try and what we call destabilise the environment. We make the environment unstable. So we say, now come in from a different angle. Now add an extra 2 players. Now have a couple of players just walking across the field as noise and continue to do it. Let's do from a breakdown, let's do from a line out, let's do from scrum, let's do it getting off the ground, let's do it with 3 on 5, let's do it pack on pack. Let's continually destabilise the environment to make it more and more competition specific. And you force them to do what? Every time you destabilise an environment, what am I forcing them to do? Adapt. And another word for adapt is decision making, problem solving. That's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to do. Excellent. All right, so back to this. Can you teach commitment? Yes. Make training more challenging and more demanding than the event that you're preparing for. This is one of the tools you can use. What I'd like you to do over the next few days, look at your core skills. Look at some of the skills that you do, some of your favourite drills, and put them through this. Put them through those 7 steps and see what you end up with. And make them more competition specific. Okay, that's the first way of teaching commitment. Working on commitment instead of just accepting technical excellence. Second way, out-prepare your opposition in every detail on and off the field. Out-prepare. So I have a young kid about to come up against Carter. Hasn't got his talent. Hasn't got his ability, hasn't got his money, his good looks. Hasn't got any of those things. But we can eat better than Dan Carter. We can rest more. We can be better in the gym. We can be better with our flexibility work. We can take care of our injuries more effectively. We can get better sleep. We can be better with our mental skills. When do you introduce mental skills to young kids? Pull it out of your hat.
As soon as possible.
Soon as possible? Yes. We do 3, I've got a lot of kids I work with in my swimming program at home. We do mental skills sessions with 3 and 4 year olds. Everyone says, you probably need your own mental skills, Wayne. I probably do. Kids finish the training session. We sit them around together. Guys, quickly, come here. Fantastic session, guys. Close your eyes, big breath. Put your hand in, hands on top, and I'm always on top, guys. You know that. Come on. Guys, I want you to think about that starfish game we played today. Do you remember the starfish? And the starfish, and we were playing with them, and we were breathing, big bubbles. Fantastic. What am I teaching? Visualization, breathing, imagination, memory improvement. And guys, what I want you to think about is the one thing about you that you love, the one thing about you that's beautiful, the one thing about you that mum and dad and your friends and your dog and your cat thinks is super special. Let's go, guys. See you tomorrow. Mental skills session for 3, 4 year olds. Positive thinking, self-image, visualization, breathing control, relaxation. When it talks about mental skills, and they all wait to give them to a sports psychologist when they're 22, it's gone. It's a skill it's like saying, I'm in rugby, I'll teach them the pass when they're in the All Blacks. It's the same thing. You've got to teach those things all the way along. So guys, out-prepare. So I often say, this is how I sell it to a kid. Say, what's your goal? And they say, I want to be the best fly half in Bay of Plenty, in all the region. I want to be the best fly half. I say, okay, well if the best fly half in the Bay of Plenty area, or in North Island, or if in all of New Zealand, if the best fly half in your competition was here, what do you think they'd have for breakfast? Oh, well, they'd probably have oats and whole grain foods and some fruit, maybe some juice. Okay, fine. So what about training? How do you think they'd go about training? Oh, they'd be great at training, you know. They'd high intensity, they'd read the plays, they'd probably get there early, do a bit of stretching. Okay. So what you're telling me, you know what it takes to be the best, and you know what the best in your job and your role and your competition are doing, but you've chosen not to do it. That's really an interesting choice. Why would you choose to be unsuccessful? Why would you choose to be less than you can be? So try and teach that, guys. Out-prepare in every detail. And the third thing about teaching commitment, and it all ties together here. Michael Phelps' coach said the other week when I was working with those guys for a few days, I said, tell me your coaching philosophy. It'd be really interesting. I can share it with people that I meet. And he said, in any given situation, a great athlete, given the choice of doing things the easy way, the hard way, will always do it the hard way. I said, great stuff. What does that mean? He says, well, 5 a.m, the alarm goes off. Easy way, hit the snooze button, go back to sleep, get up, pack your bag, get mum and dad out of bed, make them a cup of tea and say, let's go to training. Easy way, hard way. Easy way, come home, have one of those milk drinks out of the fridge, the up and goes, for breakfast, or porridge, fresh fruit, juices, yogurt, high grains, baked beans, whatever you like, and clean up afterwards. Easy way, hard way. You're about to leave to go out for lunch, go to school, and you go say to mum, can I have $20 for lunch? Or I make my own lunch, 2 salad rolls, rice cakes for afternoon tea, a couple of pieces of fruit, yogurt and fresh water. Easy way, hard way. Guys, the cumulative effect of doing things the hard way, it builds and it builds and it builds. And again, it comes back to confidence equals knowing. If I know that in every situation and every choice that I've had to make, I made the conscious decision to do things the hard way, which another word for the hard way would be what?
Challenging way.
The challenging way, the right way. To do things the right way. These are all tests of their commitment. And as the group found out this morning, if you know what commitment looks like, you can teach it and you can coach it. So instead of saying to an athlete, you need to be more committed, you need to coach commitment. You need to teach them what commitment looks like. You need to coach them, instead of being just good tactically, you need to teach them how to progress their skills and maintain technical excellence at speed, at fatigue, under pressure, and so on. You need to explain to them and teach them and coach them that commitment means out-preparing their opposition in every detail, on and off the park, in all situations, if they're committed to being the best. So guys, all of us, we need to take it out of the taxi driver, the barbecue, the people at the pub, talking about sporting anecdotes and stories and the way the media does, and put some substance into it. Because if we can coach it, we can improve it. If we know what it is, we can coach it and we can improve it. So can you coach commitment? So guys, any questions? Any questions? Struggling?
Hi, Bob.
Yeah.
Getting coach development around the constraints-led approach,
Yeah.
which sounds very what you're talking about there, about putting things into the context of the game,
Yeah.
so that they're actually training in the context of the game.
Yeah.
Is that where you're going with that?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, look at these kids out here at the moment. What's the most beautiful thing that they're doing out there at the moment is these conditions are crap. And they're still training. Our job as a coach, well, they're having fun at that age, it's great. But our job as a coach with performance athletes and competitive athletes is to give them the skills and the capacities to match every competitive situation that they're going to face. That's our job. And there's so many variations. So that's where I'm coming from on that. Are we teaching them, are we giving them the skills to match every competitive situation that they're going to face? Or are we just spending lots and lots of time trying to chase that mythical, technically perfect model when we've got so little coaching time? In reality, we have so little coaching time. Does it mean you're getting really angry? Bruce Lee used to do that. He used to go, you ever see that? He goes, And he goes, "Argh!" The first thing was cracking his knuckle. Okay, guys, we've got about 40 minutes to go before we're going to have a break, or half an hour or less.
Yeah, 25.
Okay. 25, he's put me out of pressure.